And a good morning to you all, and welcome to the starting lineup. Great to have you with us on an absolutely beautiful Wednesday in the Ozarks. Ned Reynolds joined by
Scott Purrier.
And for the next 2 hours, we are right here talking sports and whatever. Like to hear from you at 417-447-1021, 447-1021, of course, preceded by the area code. And that is both the phone line and the text line. They are the same. If you wish to talk to us, hey, great, love to talk with you. Or if you wish to text us, love to read your texts as well. So please do make yourself available so that we can visit with you and answer any of the questions and comments you might have. Starting lineup is brought to you by Play It Again Sports, Fremont Shopping Center, Battlefield and Fremont Springfield. You can't go wrong. All the athletic equipment you could possibly want, including some special deals. You got into one of those special deals yesterday. What is that?
Yeah, all kinds of specials going on over at Play It Again Sports. Jeff and Jeff, around the holidays, around special events, they've always got something going on. And basically go in there and almost all their golf stuff is on sale in some way, shape, or form. It's the Freedom 250 celebration. It started Monday this week, goes through July 5th. All their junior golf clubs are on sale. All new exercise bikes, treadmills, rowers, ellipticals, they're all 10% off. Just go visit the guys at Play It Again Sports. They've got the big sale going on, and free ice cream day coming up on July 11th with Highland Dairy supplying the goods there.
And on the subject of golf, Swing Right Golf is one of our sponsors. They are located on South Campbell, a little bit north of Nixon, and hey, you have a great opportunity to get that swing down just perfectly. That is the key at Swing Right Golf by Citizens Bank of Rogersville with 2 routes. That's what they call their branches, routes. One is adjacent to Highland Springs, and the other is in Rogersville itself. And by Marshfield Chevrolet. Marshfield Chevrolet is located at the I-44 exit, couple of left turns, and you're there at Marshfield Chevrolet. Big night of sports last night, and certainly a big week coming up on the 4th of July.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, tonight the USA World Cup soccer match against Bosnia-Herzegovina. Did I do it right there?
You did.
Okay, 7 o'clock on Fox. I'm sure there'll be watch parties. Best part for all those people, I've got a tongue problem. It sounds like I'm lisping a little bit.
I didn't notice it.
You didn't? Well, I'm a little sensitive about it, so if you don't bring it up the next 2 hours, that'd be great.
You're lisping just perfectly.
Yeah, I've got like a canker underneath my tongue. I know people wanted to hear that this morning on their way to work.
That's a stomach sore. You'll be all right.
Well, why is it under my tongue then?
They can prop up anywhere.
Did it rise from my stomach up into my tongue?
No. It's a blood chemistry thing. Okay. And it could be anywhere. And frequently it does show up.
I'm out of whack, basically. Is what
You've got them on your cheeks before, haven't you? Inside?
Yeah. Same thing. Those hurt too. But anyway, the good news is if you bought red, white, and blue stuff for Saturday night, you get to break it out early tonight. You can wear it out to any restaurant or any bar, and it'll be very festive. I know that Michelle Boswell, that was on with us Monday, said Mumbles 1888 down on Commercial Street has been the hot spot for soccer fans. It will be tonight as well, but that's kind of highlighting tonight's schedule. I want to tell you about our lineup today. Of course, it is a Ozarks Old Timers Luncheon Day. If you don't have lunch plans, come out and Ned's buying. You come out and say, "Come on now, I want the Ned Reynolds discount."
Which is nothing.
Yeah, we're at Golden Corral on Primrose, 2020 East Primrose. 11:30 a.m. We're out of there by 1 o'clock. Our special guest today is Dave Davis, the former Hillcrest baseball coach and longtime media teacher in town, now doing his thing over at Greenwood for those kids. But we'll visit with Dave Davis about his career, the Cardinals, journalism today, a little bit of everything there with our Ozarks Old Timers Luncheon at 11:30 at Golden Corral off South Glenstone there on Primrose. Lineup today, 7:30, Branch Fitzel, the new Hillcrest baseball coach, son of retired Coach Ryan. Had a great season this last year at Carl Junction. He'll be joining us to talk about his new challenge, going back to his alma mater. 8 o'clock, our Ozarks Legends series. We're catching up with Haley Frank, the former star at Stratford High School. Of course, you can remember the run they had with 118 consecutive victories, 4 state championships, I think, in her time there. Haley's going to join us at 8 o'clock in our Ozarks Legends. And then at 8:30, Ray Godfrey, the new interim head football coach at Ozark High School. We'll talk about what lies ahead for Ray and the Tigers this fall. So A couple things. Listen on the way into the show before ours, and they were talking about Jordan Spieth's comments about golf and gambling. Did you hear that?
No, I did not.
No.
What did you say?
Well, I think they missed the point, is that Jordan Spieth was kind of saying that the atmosphere at the Traveler, well, actually at the U.S. Open with Wyndham Clark, how kind of brutal it was against him there, that, Jordan kind of hinted that gambling now changes fan behavior in some ways. And the guys on the show before were saying, well, I think it was more alcohol and New Yorkers, and that's not usually a good mix on a golf course where it's supposed to be prim and proper, but that they, this guy may have $100 on the field, versus Wyndham Clark there when he had such a big lead going in the last day. I think Jordan Spieth's point was that golf is the one sport where a fan can literally control what happens out there on the field or the court, or the course in this case, because one too early comment in a backswing, or things like that, or somebody just yelling something right at the top of a backswing, or things like that. We've talked about it on here. What would golf do? I mean, let's say that Scotty's over a putt on 18. They wouldn't do it to him because they love him. But what if Wyndham Clark was there on 18 with the putt to win it, and somebody yells "miss it" in the backswing? They're not going to let him have a do-over because it's never happened in golf.
No, but you can exercise some legality by escorting the fan out of there. Now, golf's not the only thing where that can happen. Tennis, if you're into the serves and so forth and so on, and they can do over in tennis.
But tennis, you've got so many more points coming. In golf,
well, that's true.
With where one stroke can mean a win or a loss and mean millions. That person that's betting, it could mean $500 or whatever.
But it isn't the only sport, as I mentioned. No.
But it's the only one you can directly
in an immediate control basis, yes, I would put golf in that singular category. But there are other sports. Fans need to behave themselves. Yeah, they paid the tickets, and they have the right to boo and all this sort of thing and carry on, but not to interfere with the play.
No, and I think my point is that, one ill-timed comment, that was on purpose can alter the outcome of a tournament, with one putt or one swing off the tee where top of the backswing somebody yells, "Hook it," or "Hope you hit a bunker," like one of the idiots yelled at the U.S. Open. So that's Jordan's point, is that I don't know how you control it, because let's say somebody does that and they get tossed out. Well, they probably pay a fine and they're out of jail. But they also may have won $500 or $1,000, so it's probably break even. Mm-hmm. But just I think that's what Spieth was getting after, was what are you going to do on crowd control to make it to where that doesn't happen? Because, I think we asked Bill Oakley or Rick or one of the guys that comes on with us, what would the tour do? And they would do nothing. They wouldn't go, okay, well, Scotty, you get to putt it over, or anything like that. They would just, it is what it is.
If they could do that, I've never seen it happen.
Well, and what kind of floodgates would that open?
A lot.
Let's say they did it one time on the 18th at X tournament. Well, then 2 weeks later, when Rory has somebody yell something in the back of his backswing of his tee shot, what's the tour going to do then?
Scott, you can also plant somebody in there to do that just in case your putt is bad.
You talk about the mafia and the gambling rings and all that. That they could pay some idiot 22-year-old like that kid we talked about back, was it Phoenix, where he was going up and doing stupid stuff like that. But you could pay one of those guys to go do that and say, hey, we'll bail you out, but we've got $500,000 on, this guy not winning the tournament. So anyway, I think that's where Jordan was going. The other thing I wanted to bring up too was, did you see the story that Great Southern Bank is closing branches and laying people off right now?
I did see that, yes.
Wonder what that means for the future of Great Southern Bank Arena.
I would think nothing, because that's probably paid in advance and it's an agreement. It's I would assume anyway, several years in duration. But again, I don't know. I'm not privy to that.
Well, and it just made me think, okay, what if? It's hard to start taking people's jobs away and closing locations and still have a $5 million or whatever it is on an arena. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I would also agree with the company's thought process as far as putting money behind events that are forthcoming and promoting events. They would have to, I would think, draw a limitation on that as well. I did not see the numbers. I know it's happening, but what were the numbers involved?
On what?
The layoffs and the closing.
I didn't see. I just saw, I think there's one or two local branches that are being shut down, but nationwide, some jobs are getting lost there. And I'm looking now, and I apologize, I was kind of half listening to you, which is normal. The Great Southern Bank Arena naming rights deal is tied to a $5.5 million donation to the Missouri State University Foundation.
So, no, that's intact then.
So that's probably already been done, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Because it was to pay down a portion of the construction bonds there. So, but, I mean, are we looking at the curse of Arthur Briggs all over here again? You know, you take a certain guy's name off the building and things start happening, and I'm just wondering about in a baseball field.
And there is another circumstance, as we have addressed before.
Are we heading down that path? But anyway, it was interesting to see because the first thing that popped into mind was, wait a minute, they have an arena in their name here in Springfield, and a very prominent one there. So, World Cup. Last night, France 3-0 winner over Sweden. They get 2 goals from Mbappe. Looks like, from what I've read all over the internet, that France is probably the favorite right now.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about it. And their score of 3-0 over Sweden, that's a dominant game in soccer, and that's how dominant it was. France was in control the whole time. They're a very good soccer team.
Norway wins 2-1 over Ivory Coast. They get an Erling Haaland goal in the 86th minute for the game winner. And then late last night, Mexico 2-0 win over Ecuador in Mexico City, which is kind of fun to see the celebrations and everything going on. They're kind of caught up in a little World Cup fever as well.
Of course, they're one of the host countries.
Yeah.
Now, they don't have as many matches as the USA does, but by the same token, the Mexican fans are very proud of their soccer history.
They scored 2 goals in a 9-minute span in the first half. They had an hour weather delay at the start before this thing got underway. Mexico's first knockout round win in 40 years, so they're pretty excited. We mentioned tonight USA and Bosnia-Herzegovina at 7 o'clock in the round of 32. Also, England and the DR Congo at noon today.
I call it the Congo. The DR, I imagine, is Democratic Republic, I would assume.
It's not Dominican Republic Congo.
Oh,
right?
No.
I don't. When I saw DR, I didn't know what that would be.
Or Dr. Congo.
Dr. Congo, yeah.
No, it's Democratic Republic. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Okay, just Congo then for short. This has been a great geography lesson the World Cup has. For I didn't know there was a Herzegovina. Where is it? I guess next door to Bosnia.
Yugoslavia is what it is. It's the country renamed, I think, back around 2005, 2006, somewhere in that vicinity when they were having one of their multitude of uprisings over there. It's very political. That's going back into history. That's where World War I started in that country.
What was wrong with the name Yugoslavia?
Well, it's not popular with the Slavs nor the Croatians.
So what do they call them now? The Venas?
I don't know what they call them. Now, actually, they're either Croatians or they are Serbians.
But they live in Herzegovina.
Well, some do, and some live in the way they have it divided is I don't understand that. Sarajevo is the capital. That I do know, and they had the Olympics there, Winter Olympics 4 or 8 years ago, whatever it was. But very popular place, and it's a solid organization. They have a very good government.
Maybe they got tired of being called Slavs, because if you don't enunciate that properly, it doesn't sound very good anyway. So anyway, World Cup continues. We got lots of baseball, basketball, things like that. Why don't we take a break and come back and start that up?
Also have tennis.
And tennis. It's on the agenda.
We will take a timeout on the starting lineup and return in a second. And we are into the starting five, if you will continue.
Yeah, baseball last night. The Cardinals beat the Braves 5-3 down in Atlanta. They're down 1-0 in the third. They score 4 in the fourth. Get homers from Nathan Church and Nelson Velasquez. You just can't beat Nathan Church and Nelson Velasquez. Hold them off forever.
Well, Nathan Church was a 3-run job, and that's really what won the game for him.
Yeah, and Matthew Liberatore was good last night, actually. 5 innings, 1 hit allowed, 1 run, struck out 9 and walked 4. Riley O'Brien gets his 21st save of the season. We mentioned Drake Baldwin and watching him play this week. He snapped a 0-for-36 skid with a single in the 7th last night. So it's been a rough going since he came back from the injury.
He's not even catching at the moment. They have the Bart kid catching.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they just want Baldwin's bat in the lineup every day, and he can catch. I think Joey Bart's kind of a defensive specialist more than Baldwin is. So Braves have lost 13 of their last 17 now. Tonight it's Ronaldo Lopez and Michael McGreevy in Game 2 of that series. Royals fall to the Rays 10-4 at the K. Kansas City led 1-0 in the first. A Carter Jensen home run. Kids playing well, putting up numbers and kind of helping carry that offense along with Bobby Witt Jr., who homered twice.
But 2 homers.
Yeah, it wasn't enough. Griffin Jacks gets the win for Tampa. 6 innings, allowed 3 earned runs, struck out 5, walked 1. Noah Cameron wasn't good again. Gave up 9 hits and 6 earned runs in 3 2/3 for KC. And that's kind of the story of their season, is the pitching is kind of come and gone. Guys will be good for a month, and then they're not good. And you've seen that basically with every one of them. You saw it with Seth Lugo, who throws tonight. You saw it with Cameron. You saw it with Bubic. Bubic, and then he got hurt. Now he's on his way back. It just seems like they can't consistently, have guys throw well for more than 2-3 weeks at a time.
Interestingly enough, the one who has been consistent, and that's used advisedly, is Waka. He can get in there and pitch well he can sustain it for a while, but then he also falls into that category. But therein lies your problem, and who knew this at the start of the season, that the pitching would not be at a consistently good level, because it was thought that was the Royals' strong point.
Well, and the start of the downfall was Cole Reagan's getting hurt, and he's having surgery, I believe, today on his elbow, and he won't be ready at the start of next year, so it's going to be a lengthy time without Cole Reagan's. You thought you had the back end of your pitching staff set with Estevez coming back as closer. He was awful and then got hurt, and now it's just been a mess entirely of the pitching staff, and really just kind of a nightmare of a season for KC fans. Junior Caminero last night, 5th consecutive game with a home run. He drives in 3.
Was that a 3-run homer?
I believe so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's hit 23 now this season. 22 years old. He's announced that he's going to be in the home run derby. If I'm Tampa, I'm like, no, stay away from the home run derby. But he's a kid; he'll get in there, and those guys. I'm sure the team's saying, and I'm sure the agent's saying yes because of the national exposure. That there are a lot of fans still that don't know about Junior Caminero, and they will after the home run derby.
Well, and the players are not necessarily as opposed to it as they had been, because your payoff is $1 million.
Yeah,
and that's pretty good.
But how many guys have we seen go in there and just hit 30 or 40 home runs and then aren't worth the flip for about the next month or even the second half of the season?
I've forgotten the Philadelphia Phillies player back in 2006 or 7, whenever it was, who won the home run derby, had a big year, and really collapsed in the second half.
Who was that?
O'Brien. I've forgotten who it was, but it was
Ryan Howard. Did Ryan Howard ever do the home run derby?
Ryan Howard did win it. He won the home run derby, but no, he wasn't affected. Oh, gosh, I've forgotten the guy's name now.
Yeah, I know who you're thinking about, too. And that's why we have a text line, 417-447-1021, if you want to shoot us a text with that answer that we don't know.
But the fact is that there are some who do have to change their swing a little bit. The home run derby this year will be in Philadelphia. That's where the All-Star game is. And that's one where you don't necessarily have to hit it real hard to get it out of there.
I think they've changed the format again, too, this year. They change it about every year. Let's see what that is, because I think it's now where it's not a clock, but it's interesting. ESPN no longer broadcasts the home run derby.
No, it's on Netflix or one of those things. Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that, and that's
what will the ratings be? You can count this old man out of there. I'm not.
Yeah. Do you have Netflix? No.
Well, it's available, but I don't have it. No.
Okay. So you don't subscribe to it, is what you're saying. Mm-mm. Okay. Because I know that I did not realize that. But, and that's honestly, it got annoying after a while, but that's the Chris Berman back, where that started, and his calls on there, and interesting, yeah. So I did not realize Netflix for the home run derby. Well, I mean, it is the most subscribed app, I believe, out there in the country.
You mean Prime is not?
Prime is more of an Amazon byproduct, the Prime network, the Prime app.
Yeah, but they're the ones who have the key sports.
Well, they have some. Yeah, Netflix
football.
Netflix, NFL's on Netflix as well now, too. And so,
what's the NFL contract with Netflix?
I don't know. It changes every year because they get more and more games. But no, there are more Netflix subscribers than there are Amazon Prime. The Prime thing is kind of shoved down your throat. If you buy things on Amazon, hey, you can get this, shipping free, blah, 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 blah.
But they also charge for it, too. If they know, electronically, they know if you have tapped into their TV.
Well, do you?
Yes.
Do you? Okay.
I'm not a victim, but yeah, I said, where did this, $10 is what it was.
So you have Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Why won't you get Netflix?
Because I'm cheap.
Okay. Because they have a version with ads that's like $8 a month. I'm going to tell you that if you're going to be a sports fan, you're going to have to get it at some point.
Not this old man.
No.
Not when you're on a limited budget,
well,
no.
You did change from rotary dial TVs to, flat screens and remote controls.
I have 2 flat screens and 2 remote controls. Of course, I have to spend the money to put the batteries into the remote controls.
Gosh, those darn batteries, I tell you. Why did they not have a solar remote control for Ned's TV?
I'm ready.
Invent that.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah, so anyway, and then Springfield Cardinals, they dropped the opener against the Travelers last night at Route 66 Stadium, 8-7. Travelers get a run in the top of the 9th for the win. Reniel Rodriguez had his 6th homer for the Cardinals last night. So
does that tie them now for the lead?
Yeah, it should, because I think they were 5-1 and 4-2 coming in. And so kind of doing the math and trying to figure this out, we talked about Cade Anderson, probably the top pitching prospect in the minor leagues, pitching in town for Arkansas, probably on Friday night. I went and saw Liam Doyle last Friday night, and I wonder if we get a Doyle-Anderson matchup over at Route 60. If that's the case, and you're a baseball fan and it's the holiday weekend, get over to Route 66 Stadium and watch that, because you'll see 2 guys that will be on Major League Baseball mounds within the next year or 2 for sure.
And it's also a good show because you have fireworks going on every night, and that being the pre-4th of July event by one day, that'll be a big night.
It will be, and this is a match. If you get that matchup, you get Liam Doyle, who was Tennessee and Mississippi State before that, and Coastal before that, I think.
Coastal was the first.
The first stop. Cade Anderson was a star at LSU. You had a pretty good pitching matchup if that's the case. Tell us about Sabrina and Wimbledon as she falls to 20-year-old. Maya Joint.
Well, Serena can still play. She is a world class. She just simply cannot sustain the level that she had to be a world class player unless she wants to. And at 44, I don't know what's her mindset. She has 2 young daughters. Her husband's there at all the matches and all that sort of thing. But can she do that? Can she come back? Yeah, she's a world-class athlete. But it takes a tremendous amount of diligence and practice. I thought Andy Roddick said it best during the commentary yesterday. He said, you can get out there and practice, and you have to. You have to practice every single day to get your timing down, your muscle memory going, and so forth. But it does not take the place of playing a singles match in competition. There's where your mindset comes in. And Serena had not played in 4 years. The player she played yesterday, Maya Joint, born in America but lives in Australia now, committed to the University of Texas, but was NCAA said she had to repay $140,000 in winnings to become eligible again. That's a load of rubbish, frankly. But be that as it may, she's a kid, and I don't mean this to be...
Wait, time out. Which part of it's rubbish?
Having to pay back that money. She won the money. She had renounced her professional status and then said, yeah.
But she took professional money, right?
She did take pro money.
So how is that different in your mind than a guy going to the NBA and then trying to go back to playing college basketball?
It isn't.
No. And are you in favor of that?
No.
No, okay.
But in this case, you're talking about an individual who had, again, renounced the professionalism, but we can get into that point. She, and this is not meant to be derogatory, she looks like she should be playing on a high school team, just physically from that standpoint. As a skilled player, she can play, although she had lost 11 straight singles matches going into her match with Serena. And Serena There were periods of time during the match yesterday when she looked like the world class. Had 95% of the crowd at Wimbledon was in her favor. They're cheering everything she did. She had a couple of serves that were over 120 miles an hour. And this kid physically was nowhere near as strong nor as big. But 37 unforced errors. 37 of them.
By Serena?
Actually, by both players.
Yeah.
Now, the kid I can understand, but Serena, unforced errors, that's a sign that your timing is off, that your mindset is not necessarily there. She was beaten, she being Serena, consistently on cross-court shots. Couldn't get to them, number one, and then decided late in the match, I'm not going to go for them. And I think that eventually is what happened.
So what happens next? Is she done as far as singles in your mind?
And it depends on her.
Yeah. And what made her come back this time?
I think the fact that it was Wimbledon and that she received a wild card invitation, which is an honor to be in there at that level, and the fact that she is playing doubles with her sister Venus. So indeed, the opportunity was there to come back and at least show the fans that, yeah, I'm still around. But will she? You have to really play on the pro tennis circuit almost every single match to really maintain that level of competition. And she hasn't done it in 4 years.
Three other stories that we'll just touch on now and maybe get into that a little bit later. But the NFL clears Brendan Sorsby for the 2027 NFL draft. He will not play in the NFL this year. They said if he stays right, adheres to what he said he's going to do in terms of no gambling, he'll be eligible for the 2027 NFL draft.
Did it say he can play in Canada?
Canada turned him down too as well.
They did turn him down.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple NBA notes as free agency opened yesterday at 5. LeBron announced that he is going to play another year, but not with the Lakers, so he will go elsewhere. A lot of speculation. JVT was on the show this morning, I heard, on the Visa Network. Thinks it's all but a done deal that he goes to the Warriors and finishes his career. So, but that Cleveland is firing overtures his way to try to bring him back to finish up his career in his home state. So stay tuned on that.
Well, he's a terrific player. He still can play. He was certainly a big reason why the Lakers got into the second round of the playoffs, but he doesn't want to be out there anymore. Doesn't like the mix on that team. I don't know how he and the kid from the Dallas Mavericks, Doncic.
Yeah.
I don't know how well they get along. They say they do, but it's just a different mindset now.
41 years old. This would be his 24th season coming up this fall. It'll be interesting, too, if he makes whoever he plays for next year take his kid with him, too, as well, because his kid's not very good. Not an NBA player. And then the other big news in the NBA, the Clippers are trading Kawhi Leonard back to the Raptors. A bunch of draft picks going both ways, some other players. Of course, Kawhi is a two-time NBA Finals MVP, perennial All-Star, and 35 years old now, but he led Toronto to the NBA title back in 2019. So coming home to try to recreate magic late in his career for them as well. So
we saw Chris Paul try to come back at virtually that same age, and it was a struggle for him. I wonder if Kawhi Leonard can do that same thing. Well,
we shall see.
Certainly find out. Time out on the starting lineup. Back in a second. And we very much appreciate your being with us on the starting lineup, brought to you by Fight Against Sports, by Swing Right Golf, by Marshfield Chevrolet, and by Citizens Bank of Rogersville. Ned Reynolds along with
Scott Purrier.
Art Haynes will be back with us next week, I believe.
Maybe tomorrow. I need to check in with Art. I know that he's going to miss our luncheon today because he's still in transit back from North Carolina, where he won the 2025 Broadcaster of the Year Award from the National Sports Media Association. So we welcome Art back whenever he's ready to go there. But special guest on the line is the new head coach at Hillcrest High School. They didn't have to change the name on the back of the jersey if they put him on there because his dad was the longtime coach there for years and years and years. We welcome in Branch Fitzel. Brant, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So what we were kind of trying to trace your steps. Of course, you played high school baseball for your dad at Hillcrest, right? Went to Drury and played. Came back and assisted your dad for 3 years at Hillcrest. Took the Carl Junction job last year, won 27 games. Your dad retires, and you're back at the Hill now as the head coach. Kind of a whirlwind for you here early in your career?
It's been a little bit of a whirlwind, especially the last 2 years, moving down to Carl Junction, now moving back to Springfield. It's felt fast, but it's been a heck of a ride so far.
I remember asking your dad, I guess it was a previous interview this spring that we did with him, can you always fall back on the flowers and things like that? And he said, yeah, there's somebody who can always do that. Do you fall into that category too?
He might be helping out with that a little bit more now in his retirement. His cousins kind of take the reign on all that. But yeah.
Have you ever been involved in it yourself?
I have not really, just kind of going in there and getting flowers and shirts when I need it. But
good.
He used to help out a lot.
Do you get a discount?
I believe that you get the Fitzel family discount.
The Fitzel family discount, yeah. How valuable to you was the year in Carl Junction that you spent this past season? Again, 27-10, just a brutal Class 5 district with state champion Willard, Webb City, West Plains, all in the same district. But what did that mean to your development? To leave being an assistant under your dad to go try running a program for yourself for the first time.
The decision to go to Carl Junction was probably the hardest decision that I ever made, because I was leaving everything I ever knew at Hillcrest and my dad, in his last year or two. And looking back, it was the best thing I could have done, because I got to go kind of do it on my own for a year and learn a lot of things and use what my dad and previous coaches had taught me. And it went really well, and we were successful, and I had the best group of players and families you could ask for there. And now I'm excited to come back and see what I can do at Hillcrest after everything I've learned at Carl Junction.
Is there a key element that your dad taught you about, and the others, about coaching?
I would say my dad and Coach Hagler are definitely like the two influences. When I was a baby, my dad was Coach Hagler's assistant, and then I got to see my dad coach at Hillcrest for a long time, and even Coach Hagler came back and was an assistant for us when I was in high school. And those two guys taught me, I would say, how to first work hard. It takes so much to be a head coach and to run a program efficiently and in the right way and do right by people. And I would say hard work and just always treating people right. That's what those two guys have taught me for sure.
You played for a really good mind over at Drury for Scott Nasby, and of course Hag was involved, I believe, then during your career as well.
Yep, a couple of years.
At that point, did you take some things away from that era as well that you've applied to your coaching?
Oh, for sure. We, Coach Nasby is huge on base running, and I don't know how many people know that, but we took a ton of stuff base running wise, and then just a ton of practice stuff that we did at Drury that I liked. And it was nice, because since I'm younger, to tell the guys, hey, when you go to college, and I actually have a player going to Drury next year, you're going to be doing these same things. So that was nice to sell to the players of, hey, this is what we did just not that long ago in college. And Coach Nasby was a great influence to steal some stuff from for that too.
When you look back on your high school career with the Hornets, and this is one of the storied programs, and not just Springfield, but in Southwest Missouri, what sticks out in your mind?
I would just say pride of Hillcrest, and wearing Hillcrest baseball means a lot to a lot of people. So getting to wear that across your chest is something that I never took lightly. And I would say, we went to 3 district championships whenever I was back in high school. And when my dad was in high school, they were even more successful than that. So it means a lot to everyone that's put that jersey on their back. And that's kind of what I thought every day. Like, you're lucky to have the Hillcrest jersey on.
We talked with Jordan Fielding about this back during basketball season, but what is it about Hillcrest guys coming back to Hillcrest? And he talked a little bit about it's just kind of a different world out there on the hill. I mean, you're kind of a little bit country, a little bit city. You got cowboys, you got preppies, you got the whole thing walking the halls there. It really is kind of probably the most unique mix of kids, isn't it, in town at Hillcrest?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Fielding, he's a good friend of mine and somebody I've gotten to look up to, and we both had parents that coached at Hillcrest before, and he's done an excellent job with the basketball program, and I'm excited to watch them next year. But like he said, and I watched his interview with you guys, you got somebody that rolled in wearing a cowboy hat from the farm, somebody that probably lives in a $500,000 or $600,000 house wearing, cargo shorts, and then somebody that might have rode the bus, like the city bus to school, all meeting up in the same school. And that makes it different, but also it's pretty cool to see those three kids walking down the hall together, and you would never, in any world besides Hillcrest High School, they'd probably never really meet up,
Rand, what was your last year at Hillcrest?
As a student?
Yeah, and player.
2017 is when I graduated.
So your freshman year was 2017-18 at Drury?
Yeah, 2018 spring was my first year at Drury, yeah.
What, the 3 years under your dad at Hillcrest, I'm sure that Ryan, your father, had in mind preparing you for this moment. Was that something you guys had talked about when you went back out there to assist him? Was, hey, Dad, I kind of want this job at some point. I want to come home, and things are kind of designed along that route?
I would say that probably ever since I was about 5 years old, maybe before that, my dream was to be the head coach at Hillcrest. Like, that was all I wanted to do. And I don't ever really remember a time, except for being a Major League Baseball player, that I wanted to do anything besides be a teacher and a coach. And, my mom's a teacher too. So it was just in my blood, and I saw them do that every day. But then it opened up where right out of college, I was able to come back to Hillcrest. And I definitely think that was in the cards for me to come back. And then I made the decision to go away last year and go to Carl Junction. And then it definitely kind of threw a wrinkle in all of that. But it worked out exactly how it was supposed to, I think.
Well, Brant, Mr. Purrier has invited as an old-timer to be one of your predecessors as our guest today at an old-timers luncheon. Mr. Davis, did you have any classes under him at Hillcrest?
I saw that. So, yeah, he had kind of started to phase into his retirement. And, he was still on teaching a couple of classes. But the media program, he did exceptional things as the head baseball coach of Hillcrest, but the media program he built there is probably even more impressive. And that's like one of the crown jewels of Hillcrest High School. So he was always involved. I actually just saw Coach Davis a couple of weeks ago. He was running a media camp up at Hillcrest, and we were playing baseball, and got to visit with him for 15 minutes or so. And it's always good to see him and how supportive him and the other coaches are of each other in this program. That's how it means a lot, too.
Did his media class have a lot of teachers from around the country in visiting with him?
Oh, yeah. He had, there was license plates and rental cars from people flying in and driving in from everywhere. So he's got it rolling on that.
One of the beauties of baseball is your involvement in the summer with your kids, your ability to coach that and maybe work with some youth programs. Is that something that's on your list of things that get the youth, I guess, on the north side excited about playing Hillcrest baseball? How do you do that? Because I know it was a pretty rough year this last year for the Hornets. You're coaching them a little bit this summer. What do you see coming in, and how do you get more of the good talent out there?
Yeah, it's just about getting more kids out to play, especially in that up until you get to middle school, baseball can be a slower game, and a lot of kids aren't really enjoying it. And then you see them, they get to high school, and then they're like, oh man, it seems really fun now. I wish I would have played, but sometimes it's too late. So we're doing things. We got a youth camp actually here in a couple of weeks that we just put out, but we started, when I was an assistant, we started a fall baseball league called Hornet Ball for elementary kids. And they have like 4 kids in the outfield, 4 kids in the infield, and 4 kids hitting, and you just rotate from hitting to outfield to infield and so on. And you hit for time, not necessarily outs, and you get in an hour like 15, 20 at-bats, which is a heck of a lot more than you get in a normal coach pitch game at 9 years old,
Now, you're the CEO of the Hillcrest program now. What would you like to concentrate on as far as your teaching and coaching is involved?
I would say we got some good young players in the program, and we got some good youth things we've started. So I just want to keep building up the youth. Going back to my dad and Coach Hagler and Coach Davis, Hillcrest, the wind always blows in there. So pitch and defense are kind of two things you got to do, or else you won't be super successful on the hill. So that's, as always, that's kind of all the way back to Coach Birmingham. That's the trend for the Hornets, I'd say.
And back to the youth developing those programs, I don't think a lot of people understand it. It's a lot harder in Springfield. If you're a town team, so to speak, with Nixa, Republic, or Ozark, you can go find the kids in each elementary class, but you've got so many feeders and things like that out there. Is that a challenge for you to get kids interested in Hillcrest baseball at a really young age?
I would say that there's, I think, 7 feeder elementaries. And so I usually print off about sets of 15, ask every school, hey, how many classes do you have? And then I go into every single class and hand out flyers and do all that and try to push it. But the one thing probably working against us is you're not, at Nixa, you're an Eagle from kindergarten on.
Yeah.
And in Springfield, you are, I was Pleasant View and then Hillcrest. And so you don't necessarily have that maybe tie to the high school. So that's what I'm working on, is trying to go into those elementaries and say, hey, you're a Hornet from first grade. Like, let's go,
Will it be hard to keep Dad away from the dugout or the field for your debut this coming spring, or will he be flipping burgers in the stand probably?
Well, yeah, we were talking about that before. He'll probably definitely have the itch to come back, and we'll probably work something out where he's around in some capacity, especially in the future. I imagine I'll have, some old guy as my assistant for quite a few years at some point in the future whenever we decide to add him. But right now this summer, I think he's enjoying flipping burgers and hot dogs, and it's a little less stressful than being in the dugout probably.
Brent, will you be teaching any classes?
Yeah, I'm teaching social studies, so U.S. history and government there.
Very good. Brent, we appreciate your time. Wish you the best of luck, and we'll talk to you when baseball rolls around in the spring.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's Branch Fitzel. He is the new head baseball coach at Springfield Hillcrest. Back in a second.
Second hour, hoping to hear from Haley Frank here at 8 o'clock in our Ozarks Legends series. Of course, Haley, one of the key, with her sister, key players there for Stratford's amazing run in her high school career, 118 straight wins, went off to Mizzou and had a very strong career there, is now a grad assistant for the first time at Illinois State on their women's basketball program. So we'll talk to Haley. And then at 8:30, Ray Godfrey, the new head coach, interim head coach at Ozark High School. Of course, Ray's been a fixture at Ozark for many years and in a variety of roles. Also was a head coach at Neosho back in the early 2000s, did a nice job down there. I have personal Ray Godfrey stories because played high school baseball against him and his brother Mike when they were both pitchers at Seneca. I think we were I'm an 81 grad. I think they were right around there. Ray may have been a year younger.
Matt County played Seneca.
Matt County played Seneca back then, and they were the ultimate combination of brothers because Mike was, and who went on and pitched. Mike pitched at Missouri State, or SMS back in the day. Goose Godfrey was his nickname, and he threw hard, and Ray threw crafty. And I think Ray played at SBU, so we'll talk to Ray Godfrey at 8:30. In that Ozark situation, I think they handled it well. That they had a resignation in early May by the previous coach that kind of popped up out of nowhere, and it's a hard time to hire football coaches because people are locked into contracts for the next year, and I think Ozark looked around and they've got a great leader in Dr. Lori Wilson down there, whose husband Mike has been a coach for years and years, umpire, so they know sports, and they thought the best situation was right there under their nose. Now let's let Ray Godfrey run with the program this fall, and then let's see how the season goes. And then in November, December, when a normal hiring cycle's there, we can take a look at what's out there.
Yeah, he is an interim coach, but it might be interesting to see whether or not the fire still burns in the gut, and whether or not he wants to continue with that, because he's not an old man. Come on.
Whether he's looking at it as, hey, I'm stepping in and helping, or hey, I want to get back into coaching,
and we can ask him that.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, when you think of situations like that, you look at Tom Cox down at Mount Vernon.
How many years? 21?
Yeah, he's been back, I think 20, 22, something like that.
Yeah, but he was out of coaching.
Yeah, out, yeah. In total of like 40-something, I think, overall. But, a guy that did a really nice job at Webb City and Ozark, and then, got out and got in the insurance business, as Ned said, for a couple decades, and then decided he missed football and came back and started helping the junior high. Next thing you know, he's leading the varsity program and continued to win there. So,
and do well. That's the key.
Absolutely. So will you watch the U.S. Match tonight?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, sure. As a matter of fact, I don't have the ability to watch split screen, but I'll go back and forth between the Cardinals and the soccer match.
Cardinal game last night, it just seemed like it was just kind of dragging on right now.
It did drag on because a lot of pitches in the game.
Yeah.
And what did Liberatore have? 9 strikeouts, but he also had about 4 or 5 walks.
Yeah, I think 5 walks there, and which is kind of his problem. If he just throws strikes, he'll fan guys, but he needs to quit letting them go to first base after ball 4, too.
And Martin Perez ain't the Martin Perez of recent years.
We talked about it, that he's your perennial, okay, we've lost 3 pitchers to injury. Somebody call Martin Perez. He's out there. Martin, get here. We need you to fill in for a little while. And I think the Braves, they've got some guys that may be back by September, but they better stop this losing streak here pretty quick and get things figured out.
I don't have the standings in front of me, but I think Philadelphia, with their win last night, is only 2.5.
I was going to say it's within 2.5, 3.5 in that range, and that was 8, 9 maybe at one point.
It was double digits.
Double figures over everybody.
They were 11 or 12 back, and now I think it's 2.5. I think
2.5. Atlanta 49-34. The Phillies are 48-38. Miami Marlins hanging in there, just 4.5 games back at 46-40, and we've talked a lot about the Chicago White Sox and the Cardinals being surprises. The Marlins have kind of flown under the radar.
They have, but they go into St. Louis and took, 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals?
Yeah, and then the other one kind of along those lines that I think has not gotten as much attention is the Washington Nationals. I mean, they've got some good young talent. They're 44-43. They're 7 games back, but they're a threat to capture one of those wild card berths with those available.
What's the name of the leadoff batter for Washington? He's a really, really good.
James Wood.
James Wood.
Yeah, 6'6", 6'7", lanky,
and
power, speed. He's got it all, and he's very streaky. I mean, he may hit 5 home runs in a week and a half, and then go 2 weeks without doing much of anything, but he's got a lot of potential. Dylan Cruz now, another one of their guys that they brought in from LSU, and he's starting to hit a little bit too.
And here you see what the draft can do for you. If it's run well and you practice good skills in regards to recruiting players and so forth, that's where the draft is a big help. And you see teams like the Chicago White Sox, 3 straight 100-loss years, and now they're back in, not only in contention, they're leading.
6 games above 500 at 45-39.
That's amazing.
Let's take our break.
Take a break. This is the mid-show timeout here on the starting lineup. We'll take a brief break and be back shortly. Don't go away.